to go until I'm fine without him. I find myself back at the very place I thought I had lived. I heard when you said there's a power source, and it's right within me. But where and when is the key? Where and when is the key? Don't need. You really lost me this time. I don't need, but I love it. You can have me. I don't need. I was safely sleeping. I don't need. You've awakened the fool. Oh, girl, is this what you want now? Oh, yes, this is what I need. It's the way that we move. Somehow this love dances, and the way that we're true, letting things go their way. I know I'm somebody who will take any chances. I feel like letting you in for good. I'm tired of having love slip away, slip right through my fingers. I thought it was stronger than that. I guess I was wrong. 'Cause heaven has never been closer. You show me how to reclaim it. It's bigger than my words can be, deeper than all of the seas. I don't need. You really lost me this time. I don't need, but I love it. You can have me. I don't need. I was safely sleeping. I don't need. You've awakened the fool. Oh, girl, is this what you want now? Oh, yes, this is what I need. It's the way that we move. Somehow this love dances, and the way that we're true, letting things go their way. I feel like somebody new whenever you're around me. I feel like letting you in for good. 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 In for good. I'm
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the pre-stream. We're almost set. I'm almost set up on my end. How is the stream, everyone? How is it? Okay, now I'm gonna send the call. Start video call. Oh shit. Let's see, over there.
Bathroom on the fucking stream.
We're not in the bathroom. Jeez.
Okay, so I don't know how sensitive this new mic is. I know it's pretty sensitive.
Let's see what mic this is gonna be using. Is he using the right one?
Because I did get a new mic.
You do sound a little bit different.
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay,
be
there we
like
go.
really sensitive. Like you can hear my mouse.
Okay.
We're live right now, right?
Yeah, I know we're live. I just wanted to make sure.
Well, I've been waiting to test this damn thing, and
Jeez, the camera has a big delay for me. I don't know why.
Theo streams all the technical difficulties so that everyone sees the behind the scenes actions.
It's raw and unedited. It's the real thing, dudes.
The real deal.
They don't call him ODT for old dirty Tio. He likes it raw.
I'm gonna try unplugging my camera. I have no idea why. It's like mad delayed.
Is it the same thing you had last time? Remember, you didn't manually turn it on?
It's on. That's not the problem. It's just delayed. Like, I'll be moving my arm, and then, like, a minute later, I would see my arm move.
I've got like an omni-directional thing. I don't know which is better. I don't know how sensitive I need to make this.
Well, Retro and I have no problems. Yo, Retro, what's with this background? Is that part of the background, the button prompts? What is that?
Yeah. I just pulled a screenshot from Google. I'm in the Soul Matrix, dudes.
That's a better camera.
It's
PlayStation
from Soul Hackers
startup.
too.
All right, that might be better. I'll just go with the Apple camera's better apparently. The Logitech fucking failed me.
Well,
Back trying to use USB ports, not happening.
What's wrong with USB ports, Retro?
USB ports are great unless you run a Mac, and then apparently it can't handle it, and the camera just fails to go through it.
It works. I think it's
right
it's a Discord problem. I don't think it's an Apple problem.
I think everything is an Apple problem, really, but
I agree. Apple stinks.
Well, okay. Well, that's it for Game Club, everyone. I'll record my own thoughts on the game we played.
So what's everyone been playing this week? Like in general, or these 2 weeks?
Mostly Soul Hackers too.
Same. I was playing that. I played the JoJo fighting game because a friend came over yesterday, so I was able to try that out. And then I played the rest of Cult of the Lamb.
What kind of game is the new fighting game? It's so funny because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or whatever you call it. The only reason I ever knew about it is because of Capcom made a 2D fighter for Dreamcast that I had, but I never heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And then all of a sudden it blew up in the past like 7 years. Is that what you're talking about? Is it same franchise?
Same franchise. I think they must have either rebooted it at some point between the Dreamcast release and then when it started getting popularity. But this fighting game that came out was on the PlayStation 3 initially. It is a 2D fighter. It has some like 2.5D kind of gimmicks in it, but it's mostly 2D. It's pretty good. The only issue that people have with it is that it doesn't have rollback netcode, which I don't know much about. Other than like latency based is like it has like a lot of dropped inputs and shit.
Right, because it doesn't correct when like there's a mismatch, right?
Yeah. But other than that, it was I was surprised how much fun I had with it. I had this other JoJo arena fighter, and I hated it. It was like, okay, it's kind of fun, but it just didn't have longevity. There was no one playing it at all. This one at least had some people play it, but it was like a small number of people.
This
But
sounds like what happens to every fighting game you ever play. That you start playing it and then it's just dead within seconds.
it's weird because
Okay.
like Guilty Gear Strive has a good player base. Like I would be in a room that has 25 people, and I would just not be matched with any of them. And it's like I don't know if it's like they're not coming to me for matches or the game's not matching anyone with me at that point. Like it's just bizarre with that, and there'd be like weird connection issues. But other than that, that's probably the most live fighting game I played. I played Street Fighter 5 for a while, and then for some reason that game also like fell off as well.
Yeah.
But Street Fighter
Speaking of,
5.
rollback netcode. Tio, did you ever get around to trying Persona 4 Arena on? I'm assuming the PlayStation copy has rollback now. It
Yeah.
does on Steam, but it's a mess.
I tried it and then like it just wouldn't matchmake, so I was like, well, I guess that's it for the dream of playing Persona 4 Arena again.
Yeah, it's a disaster. It's only out in beta form on Steam at the moment, the rollback version, and it's a disaster. You can basically like not get matched to people, or else when you do, it will disconnect. Either like 50% of the time it will disconnect after round one, and 50% of the time it will disconnect at the end of the match before everything is tallied up. So
Are those calculations accurate? 100% of the time you get kicked out
okay,
of the game?
let's be real. It's okay. It's probably legitimately about 95% of the time. Like 1 in
Really?
20 matches will finish.
Damn.
I
That's
only
fucked.
tried it on like one day, but it was just so bad I never went back to it. But if you go to the Steam forums, you'll see everyone making the same complaint.
Yeah.
But it is in beta form, so I mean, what do we expect at the moment? I don't know about the console version, but the Steam one is in beta.
I haven't played it, but I think it's in the same boat with Steam because it's probably like a beta for both those consoles. But that was the game I knew wasn't gonna live long because it was Persona 4 Arena. Like no one really cared about that fighting game. Like it's like yeah, it's fun. It's like a cool like sprite game, whatever. But it mostly devolved into like, well, then I'll just go to Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, or whatever. Usually, I don't know. I never saw a huge community for Persona 4 Arena anyway.
I plan on playing it properly someday. Just because of I know they've included like a big story in there. I'm not big into fighting games post Street Fighter 3, but I mean I just want to pick Persona.
Yeah, it does have it has the vanilla Persona 4 Arena story and the Ultimax story. Is there's those the story modes are like the only thing that's cool about them is the Persona 3 cast.
I remember it
Both
was so weird because
ironically
the
and
stories are
unironically.
named really bad.
Yeah.
Unironic. The stories are named really badly. Like one is I think it's like Persona 4 story, and then the other is like Arena story. I'm like, which one continues right from Persona 4 and which one is brand new from Ultimax? I remember you told me which one was which, but it was
Yeah,
just a mess. at the
I
time.
don't remember now. I'd have to look at the screen. The only thing I remember is I think with Persona 4 Arena, the vanilla story, like the menu is like a circular formation, whatever, for each character story. And then Ultimax is more like a linear web that you choose with each character.
Yeah, that's
that's
the one I
pretty much
remember. It's like a whatever grid or something, like a flow chart almost. But I have to do the same with with Persona 4 dancing all night, believe it or not, at some point. I have like
Yeah.
2 copies of it. But
All right, I have a question. How the fuck do you guys consume so much Persona shit? Which also I wanted to ask, what's this Soul Hackers 2 stuff you've been talking about?
Oh,
Because I
so
automatically
it's another
assumed
Atlas game.
it's another fucking.
yeah,
I
but
was like, I'm not even gonna look into this
It's-
until I talk to you guys.
it is kind of funny. When I was playing Soul Hackers 2, I did think of you, Charles, when I played this game because it it's so funny because the way I'm going to start to describe it doesn't sound like shit, but it is like it's probably what you wanted Persona to be, probably. Because
Okay.
the game does have a simple combat, but it's not simple at the same time. The combat's like kind of this weird middle ground area. But there's no S-Link bullshit. There's none of that like real world shit. There's no like going to school or anything like that because everyone in the party are adults. They're all adults in this game.
There's
Okay.
kind of like a what would you call it? Like a spin-off or like a toned down version of S-Links in a
Yeah,
little bit of
because
a way.
there is like a social aspect to it, but it's only just you go to a bar, you have like a little conversation, and then you get to go inside their character dungeon, which is the Soul Matrix, and you get to go further into their backstory and gain some levels through that as well. It's still turn-based. The only thing that I feel uneasy about, I don't know how I did a whole video about Soul Hackers 2 last week because I did a mini game club episode about it. I mentioned like in SMT, the combat system like is like, hey, if you land a weakness, you gain a half turn. If you block a elemental attack or whatever, they lose 2 turns. In this game, there's none of that. But if you land a weakness, you gain a stack that goes into an all-out attack pretty much that just hits every enemy no matter what. Like as long as you hit a weakness on one enemy, the whole enemy party will get hit. But you also get like Sabbath, which is the all-out attack. You get skills based on that, so you can get like a skill where the amount of damage you deal out with a Sabbath, you get back as health as well. So it's kind of like that.
It's
I think I need more
basically
context to understand what you're talking about. Because like
it basically feels like a middle ground between the dryness of Shin Megami Tensei, like vanilla Shin Megami Tensei, and the over personality, if you will, of like stylized version of Persona. It's like a halfway middle ground in between them, which fits perfect with what Theo was saying about the combat as well, with the stack instead of a push system. Like it still has the Sabbath attacks, which are all out attacks, and it still has your reward for hitting the stacks on the weaknesses, which feel like the push turns it away.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest things with Persona, I mean, I really only played Persona 4, and like the biggest thing to me was like, if you know a weakness, you kind of could just like drop all the enemies, and then they can't really attack you, right? So like you hit them with an ice spell, and their weakness is ice, then they're dizzied, and then you just can kind of just
Yeah,
kill everyone that way.
so there's no dizzy in this game. There's like you could seal, you can do all those other like ailments, but you can't dizzy an enemy. So even if you land a weakness, they can still attack you on their next turn. So it's
Okay.
not
Yeah,
it's none of that.
yeah, it made it so easy just to be like, okay, I'm just gonna knock them all down and then all out attack, and it's like, all right, this isn't that fun. And I don't have problems with skill links per se, but I have a problem with how you have to like. It's just like, okay, you go to school and it's like you pick someone to hang out with, and then like after 3 times of talking to them, like you now level up with them. It doesn't like there's no like game around it. Like one of my favorite games is Lost Odyssey, and like a whole concept in that is that people are like there's certain characters in your party that are immortal, and you can learn skills from other mortal people in your party just by like linking with them and leveling up by playing the game with them. So there's like some kind of strategy to that, being like, okay, I want to use this skill, and then after a while you learn it. I don't
That's
have a problem. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead, finish.
No, please interject.
No, I was just gonna say that's a really, really good game, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great game. Yeah. But yeah, so like my problem with Persona was more that like I love turn-based RPGs, which are like kind of dead. Or I think they're coming back now, but like it dumbed it down so much to me that I was like, I don't care about this game. And then I feel the story is so fucking embarrassing. So
It could be Perez. This could be it.
Yeah, the story in Soul Hackers 2 is at least a little bit better so far. I feel I'm halfway through the story, but the story is at least interesting. It's more about like just dealing with like the apocalypse as always. The other thing about this game that's just weird, someone posted in another Discord I was in the runtime of like how long the game is, and it's like the shortest SMT game I have seen. It's like 20-30 hours.
Really?
Yeah, and I was
Can't be right. That's very short.
yeah, and then I heard another like gameplay review of the game saying the by the end game the level you'll mostly be is like in the 60s, and I was like 60s? Why is it there? And then like the cap is 95 and not 99. So it's like
That's such a weird number.
yeah, it's really the whole thing just sounds weird, but it's like I'll see how it is by the end of the game and see how I feel about it. Because I always feel like with because people say like Resident Evil 2 is too short and they want that to be long. It's like, well, do you really want to be running around with Mr. X for like 50 hours? Like that would be awful. Than how long
Yeah,
it really is.
The length, I mean, I don't think the length of a game determines how much enjoyment you get out of it. Like, for instance, the game we're playing right now, like, if there's a different way to approach the game, that makes it more fun, you know? Like if you could play through a 2-hour game, like Resident Evil, for instance, like the original Resident Evils, you can beat those in 2 hours. But it's interesting to go through like the A game and the B game, or different characters, or using different strategies. You know what I mean? And like with RPGs, it's like you can level up your characters completely differently and have a different experience. So like replayability doesn't necessarily like length of a game doesn't necessarily determine its value. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm curious to where it's gonna take me because it's weird. Like with Persona 5, I had this big urge to go back and replay it like multiple times. Persona 4 Golden, it's like whatever. I'm only doing it because I'm streaming it. But with like SMT3, I do kind of want to go back and play that on my own. But with SMT5, I didn't feel that way all that much. I tried, then I just lost interest when I replayed it. And this one, like, I kind of would want to go back and replay it, but it's like I have to see how it ties together at the end. But it feels way better than SMT5. Just
Yeah.
comparing those
What-
two.
What about you, John? What have you been playing? I know you said you played a bunch of N64 shit, but have you been playing anything else or anything interesting in the gaming world for you?
I think he may still be right, but he put in the chat that he'd be right back a minute because his dog is going crazy.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
he might still be AFK.
Well,
Also,
then-
just while we're filling a little bit of a gap while John comes back, Theo, I think we need to talk to Storm about his questionable comments on the English voice cast.
Wait,
did
where
he
is
say?
it? Oh yeah, because he fucking
Yeah,
talks
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Retro told me,
Yeah.
Storm, what you said, and you're wrong. You're factually incorrect. Because one, the voice actress for Milady is a great voice actress. Heard in a lot of other stuff. How does it blow? Explain how it blows. Explain. I just want to know, so I can understand your point.
Yeah. Also, while you're
bet it's
typing all
fucked.
that,
I agree,
Storm,
Storm.
we
I know-
we found out. Theo looked it up, and it's not Yuri Lowenthal as Arrow. Even though it does sound like him a lot of the time, it's not him.
all I'm gonna say is Storm. I completely agree with you, and I've never even heard this game. Anime voice acting is 97% of the time embarrassing, so I'm gonna say this shit stinks.
But there's nothing embarrassing. It's not like they're sitting there talking about fucking waifus and shit. They're just like, yeah, this guy, I want to fucking kill him. Whatever. They
Yeah,
all
but-
sound generic. Well, Storm. Your name has Storm in the title. Storm is a generic word, so I mean,
So I have a game I want to talk about. So, because I played one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life for the first time. Have you guys ever played the original Rayman, like the 2D one?
Yeah, on
No.
the PS1.
I did
Dude,
not.
It's absolutely brutal how hard it is. Like it starts off like a basic platformer. Well, it is a basic platformer, and like it starts off like pretty normal, and then like within the first level, like you can't see when enemies are coming towards you. They respawn like right after you kill them. Like water just murders you. It is the hardest fucking game I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah, the field of view in that game is brutal. Like it's so zoomed in
Zoomed
that you
in.
can't see anything everywhere. Fun
Yeah.
fact though that you mentioned Rayman. When I got my PS1 the very, very, very first time back in the day, I got 2 games with it. Blast Chamber, which is worth a lot of money now, and Rayman.
Right. So did
So,
you
like-
ever Was it one of those things where like you suffered through it because like it's the only other game you had?
Yeah, that was I finished that game. I rescued like every, what do they call them? Not the things, because things are the little, well, things you pick up, but you have to go like through the level like 6 times and rescue all the things in the
Yeah.
cages. I did like
Yeah.
every one of those on every level because I only had 2 games to play.
Dude, I couldn't believe how I'm so shocked that Rayman was able to get a sequel because this game was impossible. It's kind of like it's like the same idea as like and I'm not comparing them as like quality games, but Bubsy was kind of the same thing. Like the original Bubsy was like brutally difficult and not fair. Like it's not even like it's hard but fair. Like Rayman is like I got to the part where you're in like that music place and you
That's
can
the hardest ones. They're the hardest ones. The music
really
place and things with clouds are the hardest ones, hands down.
because it's like you fucking have to like navigate this jetpack thing, and they don't show you anything that's gonna happen. So you pretty much have to guess and check until you win. This is like the fucking most ridiculous thing I ever played.
Oh,
Um,
there's normal like platforming levels that take place in both the music and like the cloud places as well, and they're always the most difficult levels.
yeah, and it's just funny because I don't remember when it was, but I think it was on one of your streams, Retro, where I just popped in and we were talking about you were like American devs are the worst, and
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, can we all just agree that the French are the worst? And like that, and then we went on to talk about it, and I was like, you know who made Rayman?
The
Ubisoft.
French is Ubisoft, yeah.
Well, that was
So
back
yeah,
when they were
that's
good.
technically true.
Yeah, but yeah, my girlfriend was like, oh, I love that game Rayman, so I bought it on Good Old Games, and then I also bought Rayman Legends, and it's so funny that you said, um,
Wii U.
what's that? Well,
Oh
no,
no, I
I
thought
bought it
you
on
were gonna say
PC.
Wii U. Okay.
No, on PC. But Rayman, it's so funny that you said like the field of view is so brutal in Rayman the original, because in Legends, if you move far apart, it's like it zooms out like this far, so it's like completely
I,
opposite.
I remember seeing something like that in a trailer or something like that. Rayman was like a tiny little thing right in the middle, and it's just so far out you could just see everything. It's crazy.
Right. But it's just funny how
I do
things
I
change.
do remember when that was though. Actually, it was during Sonic Adventure 2, because that was made by the American Sonic team, and that's when
Yeah.
I was complaining that American dev teams are the
That's
worst.
right. Oh, and I completely forgot. I went out to karaoke. This is hilarious too. I went out to a karaoke night, and they had this weird system. It was like it was in Koreatown in New York, and like they had this system where it was like Rock Band. They judged your pitch on the notes. They judged your hitting the notes. So like the guy was like, you don't want to use that. You don't want to use that system, and they just like put it on YouTube, and we are like, no, we want to use the system, but like it had limited songs, so it had weird songs because I think it was catered to like an Asian audience. So it had like you would look up like Billy Joel, and it would have like weird deep cut Billy Joel songs, not like the ones that Americans would expect. But we were scrolling through the songs trying to find stuff, and I saw Sonic Adventure 2, and I was like, "You gotta put that on!" Rolling around at the speed of
Us.
sound. And everyone that was there, I sang the song, and everyone acted like it didn't happen. There were no gamers in the bunch.
Wow.
They're all just looking like, what is this
It
guy
was
doing?
like
Like,
that was interesting,
ooh.
and then that was the end of it.
They don't have look. They don't have to be a gamer to like that song. That song is a good
I'm
song
with
regardless.
my microphone right now.
What's that?
Said I don't know what's going on with my microphone now.
Oh,
Oh well, we hear you now. That's the main
Yeah, we
thing.
hear you
we can at
now.
least hear you.
Well, I switched back to the old microphone because I don't know what's going on with the new one.
Can you crank your volume on the mic right now? Because I was saying like sometimes John tries to talk and we just step on him because like we're much louder than him. I think.
Well, that's why I got the new mic, but fucking shit. Anyway,
Well,
I've missed like 30 minutes of a conversation.
that's fine. We wanted to know like if we know you've been playing N64 games, which we'll get to the end, but have you been playing anything else?
Xenoblade 3.
Oh yeah, I
What are you
dropped that
thinking?
game a little
That's-
bit.
I need to get around to that.
Aside from that, nothing really else.
mm.
Oh, question for you, John. Have you played any of the other Xenoblade games?
The other Xenoblades?
Yeah, the other Xenoblade games.
So I've played. Yeah, I played them all. I've even
Okay,
played the Xenogear. I played the
Xenogears.
Xenogears, the
Xenosaga.
Xenosaga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Played all the
As far as the Xenoblade games go, what ones do you count as good? Don't forget three. Forget three so far, but what ones do you count as good?
1, then X, then say Torna the Golden Country,
Oh yeah, the
then
DLC.
2, then 2.
Okay, and where does three fit in all of that?
That would be my like ranking.
Yeah, but where does
But
like
you,
3?
you didn't put three in there.
Oh well, you said
Because-
besides 3.
Yeah, that's why I asked. That's separate at the end. Because at first I wanted to gauge your order to see if you had a good grasp of what's actually good in Xenoblade.
I would
And then I
say
wanted to go from there.
3 is better than
Oh, no.
I'd say
Oh,
Xenoblade 1,
God.
and then say
John, are you
Xenoblade
getting
1.
kidnapped by the government?
I'd say
You-
Xenoblade 1. Hello?
Yeah,
Y-
we hear you.
Your mic was like buzzing randomly.
Oh yeah. So I'd say Xenoblade 1 and 3. Then going
Okay.
Torn. Yeah.
That's promising. Basically, that's where I know where it is, because Xenoblade 1 is fantastic. Xenoblade 1 is amazing. It's one of the best RPGs of that entire generation. It's up there with Lost Odyssey as like one of the two of the best 3 RPGs in that entire era. Because technically, Persona 5 was also a PS3 game. So that's great in that way to know that it's closer to 1 than it is the rest of them, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torma, well, I haven't played Torma, but Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles X are fucking garbage. But yeah, just good to know that it's close to 1.
Is this a turn-based game too?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, it's not even really my dog. It's my parents' dog. I'm house sitting.
All right. I played through. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say, because fucking Storm says in the chat yet again. Speaking of bad voice acting, Xenoblade. Xenoblade. Everyone in Xenoblade is British or English, whatever the fuck. So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, they're talking about tea and crumpets.
I'd agree with Storm. I'd agree with Storm on that one. I mean, when you live as close to the UK as I do, you just don't want to hear that shit all the time.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean.
Crikey, me fucking Keyblade, mate. They're fucking up the apples and pears with me crumpets. Give her a fucking talk round the trade.
See,
buff.
You guys just.
really talk like that?
Yeah!
In the UK, they do.
Like, you load up Xenoblade 3,
Yeah.
they'll sit there like, oh, what a bloke over there! We're gonna block their blokes and whatever the fuck. I don't remember. I need to play that game again. I played like 2 hours of it, and then I just dropped it, but I did like it. I just think the voice acting is just, it's like, it's enjoyable like The Room is. It's like, okay, sure, it's like, whatever, but I think it's fine. It's kind of like endearing.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know. It sounds painful. But I mean, from playing Xenoblade 1, as much as I love that game, it's just painful.
Well, I mean, I am in America, so that's a whole different, like, culture,
Yeah,
dude.
I suppose it's wild like that.
I mean, but we just need Greeks. We need. I wish there was a game that's like Xenoblade, but with Greeks in it. Like, but have some Greek accents there.
You missed it. You missed it. Storm, help me out. What game was I playing recently where we figured out that like Greece and the Greeks do not exist and they have no concept of?
What?
Oh no, it was Final Fantasy VII. I don't want to go in with the spoilers here, because Tio was going to eventually play a Final Fantasy VII.
Let's get
Something happened in the game basically, and one of the guys goes, "Oh," because they're trying to read a different language, an ancient language that they can't read. He goes, "Oh, what does it mean? I don't know. It's all Greek to me." I was like, "Wait a minute. There's no concept of Greece or the Greek language or Greek history in this world."
So it sounds pretty much racist. That's what it sounds like. You're just automatically saying, "Oh, I don't understand. It must be Greek." Of course.
It's not that. It's because Final Fantasy VII is legit, and Final Fantasy VII is like canon in the universe. Therefore, Greeks do not exist, and Greece does not exist.
But
all right, so moving on from retro erasing entire culture.
Yeah, that's right.
The Cult of the Lamb.
Great.
Well, I am
What?
tall, blonde hair, and blue-eyed.
There
Oh
was
my god.
there was such a better segue like an hour ago, and to get to Cult of the Lamb. Because that,
All
but
right, wait,
whatever.
I want to try something. Wait, watch this. Can we see this?
I see a window that says "Watch Stream."
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
see.
Yo, can you make that big for everyone? I think we should I want to show a trailer of the game so people know what we're talking about.
Let's see. Okay.
Just go on Discord and make it the biggest screen.
Yeah,
I
it's the
think
biggest screen.
maybe he might he might actually be just trying to play a rolling around at the speed of sound.
No, watch. All right, so the game of the week is Cult of the Lamb. So here's the trailer, and go ahead and talk over the trailer if you guys want. Who gives a fuck?
Oh, I had this whole like cult intro I was gonna do.
Are
Shit.
The mighty lamb
Oh well.
in Massive Monster and Devolver Digital's Cult of the Lamb. Saved from sacrifice by the one who waits, you're compelled to repay the dead by...
What trailer was this? Was this for
Here's a few
E3
tips on how to
or?
start your very first
It just
cult.
says it's a gameplay trailer.
Okay.
Step 1. Grow your flock. Go crusading into the lands of the old faith to find new followers and defeat the false prophets.
Because I felt like I never saw the combat in this game in trailers.
Indoctrinate your new followers
I didn't watch anything. I just played it because you said.
Change their form and learn what makes
Yeah, I
them
mean, I
unique.
wanted to check it out because I kept
Choose
hearing
a
about it.
doctrine to set the
Yeah.
rules of your cult. Draw power from your followers by giving them
And I have a lot of positive things to say about this game. Like, so we played this game the same week Soul Hackers 2 came out, and part of me was like, oh shit, I'm gonna play that game more than this. It's gonna be another Big Bun Game Club where I have nothing to say. I ended up spending so much hours into this game. Like, I played this way more than anything else.
Keep your flock happy and your shrines will shine with their devotion.
How many of you married more than one follower at once?
Not met, however, they will begin to lose faith.
I didn't play it, so definitely not me.
Cleanse the non-believers.
Wow.
I don't think I've gotten as far as you, Theo.
Well, I beat the game, so
Oh.
I was like really like into it. I really didn't expect I was gonna like it as much as I did.
And sacrifice them to the gods. It's up to you what kind of cult leader you become. Starting a cult is no easy ride. You'll scavenge for resources and battle heretics, but righteous victory will be yours.
It's just the gameplay of this looks almost identical to Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, it definitely. Well, it probably took some inspiration from that. So that was Cult of the Lamb. Did we lose John?
He's disconnected and going to try to join back in again.
So yeah, that was a trailer. Theo, you said you had a intro you wanted to do.
No, well, I was gonna say like, oh, welcome, fellow cultists, to the Big Bun Game Club, and we are gonna be talking about Cult of the Lamb. And if you don't like it to the non-believers, you will go into the re-education camps, and we will make you love us again.
Theo, when you have pre-planned bits, you got to tell us about them.
Well, I was like, I wanted to get more like a outfit that looked like something that a cult would wear, but a little bit goofier, so it's not like super serious. But it's like I just didn't want to put that much effort into it.
Well, all
Damn,
you would have
don't worry,
needed to do would have just been get some type of like black hoodie from Hot Topic.
I know.
That's
I would have.
That's like a cult.
Oh, you know, I do have this like zip up hoodie that goes all the way up my head. Like I could just zip my entire face together. I should have done that.
There you
Shit.
go.
But it's not even like cold out enough to do that.
Theo.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a choice between either showing up in like some weird cultist thing or showing up in your Bob Odenkirk cosplay like you do now. So.
Theo, Storm says you're too loud, Theo.
Oh, I'm too loud? Oh, of course. How
Well,
about
yeah, so-
now? How's that?
I guess we got to keep talking so they can
Yeah.
give us feedback. So, so you mentioned that you beat the game already, huh?
Yeah, I played it like nonstop all week. Like I really couldn't put it down. It was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, I'm pretty addicted to it too. But I think I'm only halfway, if that. Like, so I'm assuming that you just have to beat the 5 temples, and that's kind of the end of the game without giving too much away.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's exactly it kind of ended up exactly as I was saying. So congratulations, boys. We finally played a game that I actually really like on Game Club. I don't think this has ever happened before.
Finally.
So we
I was
have to have some sort of.
I was so
Go ahead.
like I was playing it, thinking to myself, I'm gonna go into Game Club, and I'm probably gonna be the only one that's gonna say this is a great game. And Charles was like, well, actually, the game's actually not that good. The game is like not punching enough. It's letting me go back and like carry some of the progress back to the base. No thanks.
No, but
Oh, Tia, you're a bit too low now, according to Storm.
Oh, yeah.
You've overdone it a bit.
I'm gonna throw Storm off the
Storm
cult.
is just trying to help.
He's a troll, dude.
What if he's just like, now turn it back down again?
Yeah. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. Too high.
Yeah.
Higher.
I mentioned that yesterday that like if the management aspect of this game isn't fun, then I'm going to hate it because like I don't like roguelike games basically because there's like no reason, you're not really playing towards a goal, and it's just like you end up getting so overpowered, and that's kind of the end of the game. It's like you just lose, there's not really a penalty, and then you keep going until you win. But that kind of applies to this game, but the difference is that as far as I know, I haven't really like I've been treating my cultists pretty well. So like basically describe the game real quick is you start this cult, like you're sacrificed, some god or demon or whatever is like, come back to the earth and like I'll bring you back to life, but you just have to start a cult for me. So you basically are going around meeting a bunch of other animals that are like prey animals, right? So like all things that aren't predators, that it would be like prey, like used for food, like deer and sheep and lamb, whatever, like just things that will be killed. And that's like kind of the joke. But the game plays in two cycles. It's like you manage your cult and you go out and fight to gather resources. So the thing is like if you keep dying and you can't gather resources, you can't keep your cult happy. So the point of the game is to keep your cult happy. So like that's the penalty for dying is like you lose resources, so you people are unhappy in your cult, and now you have dissenters, and then your cult is less powerful. Now I don't know what happens. Like, do people start like no one's left my cult yet? People have died, but like of old age. But like, have you had a situation like I've had a dissenter? A fun part for me was when I gained an ability. I had my first dissenter, but then I gained an ability that allowed me to come back to life if I sacrificed one of my members. So I just sacrificed the dissenter and I came back to life, and no one cared because it's just like, all right, no one's bothered by that. But like, you can't just like murder people and people will be all right with it because they're like, he's just like fucking killing anyone. So what is it? Have you seen that situation where people like actually leave the cult?
I've not seen that. I have seen like dissenters, and I did not get that ability until like near the end game of sacrificing a member to come back. Instead, what I would do, I had this like I go to the church and I just sacrifice the dissenter, so that way I get more loyalty or whatever. So that's what I've been doing with dissenters, just killing them pretty much, doing it that way. But I have noticed that when you die, you don't lose all of the resources. You do get to bring some resources back. So I've just been for some reason, like my cult has not been happy. Like it's the most bipolar cult I've had. They would be like, "Oh man, you're so great, I love you." Huh?
How many cults have you had, Theo?
In the game or like in real life?
Yeah, see, there you go. That was the question.
Did you hear what he said? He said, "This is the most bipolar cult I've ever had."
Because I have two files of this game. I have one on my PlayStation 5 where I just play out, which I was doing for Game Club. Then I started streaming Cult of the Lamb on my PS4, which is a different file. So that cult has been doing pretty good. They've been loving me a little bit. The one on the PS5 would go from like, yeah, you're great. I love this place. Wow, you're amazing. Then I would go on a crusade, come back. I fucking hate this place. They have red eyes. They'd be like running around like just angry. I'm like, what the fuck? I just got back. What happened? Like, it's literally the meme of that community guy who comes back from the into the apartment and sees that everything's on fire. It's like, what happened? But I've not seen them like want to go away, because I would deal with them either by sacrificing them or giving them ascension. Either. Right. But then I never really used the reading minds mechanic either, which I should have done from the start, which I never did. And was great on the PS4 version when I was streaming that one. I named all the cult members like after my stream chat. So we exposed Yoshi for loving to poop and loving to smell and eat poop. So it's like, Yoshi, explain this. Why did you think this? So that's great. I love like naming the cult members after stream chatters and just like, yeah, what's up with this? Huh? It's like, it's
That's
great. There's like a
Yeah.
Twitch integration as well as in that game, which I want to use now because you could contribute channel points into your cult as well.
But
So that's
what does the stream integration do? Like, is it just like, do people interact with, like, do they become the cultists or whatever, or what?
they pretty
How does
much
it work?
they pretty much influence the I think it's like the prayer meter. They have like that big blue
Ooh.
meter. They can contribute to that, or they can like not. Like they can donate channel points into your cult, and you could like build more stuff or whatever you need. I've not played
Interesting.
around with it at all. I want to now, but it's something. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like I heard a lot about the streamer interaction of it, and I never really used it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So I remember in like the first couple days, you chatted and said like one of the guys had me make him a poop stew or something.
Oh yeah.
I figured it was some kind of like random, like the quests were going to be random, but I think they're all scripted, if I'm not mistaken. Like, did you get the same? Because I got that one like a day after. Like, I got the thing where it was like, make him a poop stew or whatever.
So
and
I
then he's
think
like, yeah, thanks.
I think it's scripted, but I think it's also randomized. I think it's randomized by when it triggers. So like, because there was stuff that happened in my PS5 file that did not happen in my PS4 file. So I did notice there were some differences with when things would appear. So I was like, okay, that's at least it's a little different from everyone's experience with this game.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Because I had an interesting moment where, so one thing I didn't realize, I kind of thought there was some kind of sequential order to go through the dungeons, but I guess you can just open them up whenever you have a certain, I don't even know what the fuck it was. You can open the dungeons up. So I opened one of them up prematurely, I think. And I was given a quest to make some kind of meal, like a mixed vegetable meal or something like that, or a fancy mixed meal. And I couldn't find it. I didn't have the option to cook it, so I don't know what the fuck I was supposed to do, and I just failed the quest because I don't think I was able to even do it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've not had that. I feel like all the areas you go to are all scripted though. I think like you can't go out of order. I don't know because like
No, after the first one, I have opened all of the dungeons. All of them are open at once.
Oh.
Holy shit! I finally got up to work.
John's back.
Oh, huzzah.
I hate
The cult of
technology.
John's mic.
I do not do technology, as you know.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one in this group that has tech issues. So
Oh my
there's
God.
that. I'm not alone.
Jews are just me being stupid and not
You're
knowing
still
how to
quiet
work.
though. You got to turn yourself up.
Okay. Let's
Um,
see if I can do that.
do you guys like Stardew Valley? Anyone?
No.
I
I-
now. Should I?
I love like original
Is that
Harvest
better?
Moon. Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
a bit
that
loud.
sounds
much
really
better,
good.
guys.
I love like original Harvest Moon and the proper original series. I actually it's funny you mention it. If this doesn't good, it's not getting cut out. I've actually been playing the original one. I just finished like year 1 in there, and I'm just starting Harvest Moon 2 as well at the same time. The fact that the Harvest Moon kind of fell off for so long, and then when I found out Stardew Valley was coming out because it fell
Harvest
off,
Moon forever.
I'd been meaning to actually sit and play that. I think I said on one of my streams recently that over the next maybe couple of months, I'm possibly going to dedicate like one night a week to just streaming like Stardew Valley and just going, starting it from scratch and just going nothing but on stream. But it's so overwhelming after like 6 years of patches on that game, and I have no experience with it. Like I think I played it for an hour once. And that was it.
How would you compare Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley though? Are they really that similar? I know they're inspired, but
Yeah,
I've never actually played Harvest Moon.
It's the same principle. In fact, the guy who made Stardew Valley. So basically, after the first Stardew couple of Harvest Moon games, the publisher and developer had like an argument over the license and all of that. So basically, they had to change the name of it. So
Huh.
the original developers and all of Harvest
I think
Moon
that
now
was,
make the
Natsumi.
story of Natsumi. They now make the Story of Seasons games, which is essentially
Yeah.
the same developers making that series. And then what's now Harvest Moon is made by Marvelous Entertainment, which is the company that owns the rights that used to license it out.
And then
But
you've got Rune Factory.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to go crazy with it, but basically Harvest Moon games stopped being good a long time ago, and the guy who made Stardew Valley said, "Okay, the last 3 or 4 Harvest Moon games have been a load of shit. The Story of Season games that have come out have been a load of shit. I'm gonna make my own," and
Yeah.
that's what he did.
All right, so the reason I bring it up though is that I loved Stardew Valley, and this game, I love this game for a lot of the same reasons. And I actually like this game does things better, and Stardew Valley does other things better than this game, but like it's very similar in like the resource gathering and managing your base. Like this game, there's aspects of like farming, and like keeping pests out and decorating your base and everything like that. So it's like if you like a game like Stardew Valley, then you probably like this too. It's just a little bit more oriented on action. Like for instance, in Stardew Valley, there's mines. So this game, the main loop is like you go and fight to find resources. But in Stardew Valley, you can like go around and forage for things. You can cut down trees. You can fish. You can also fish in this game. But it's only one place. Like Stardew Valley, you can find different holes to fish in, and there'll be different fish there. So like this game has a very similar loop. It's just a little bit more action oriented, and then like it's like darker themes, right? And less about relationship building and more about just like keeping these people on your base happy and figuring out jobs for them to do too. So basically I'm saying like if you like Stardew Valley, you should try this game out and vice versa.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned like the like with the sim aspect of it and maintaining a base and all that. It made me think of that quote we keep bringing up about Persona 4 with Yahtzee, where he says like, oh, if you don't want to do this other thing, you can do that thing, and etc. And that's what I think this game does very well. It does it in a more like an unironic way, where it's like, hey, if you're done with the maintenance stuff and you're like stuck and you're or whatever, just do the roguelike stuff. If that's too much, go back and maintain. And I think that both those systems feed so well into each other that like I thought when I was playing this game, I was just gonna like autopilot the base building and just be like, I'll do the bare minimum and not give a shit. Like I'm not good with this stuff. I don't care. I just want to get into the combat. But then I found myself like sitting there actually going through like what can I build, how can I get resources, and all of this stuff that I was like I really liked. Just seeing what I can add to my base and what can I level up and what can I help with other people. It does a good job like getting you both invest in both aspects of that game.
Right. I mean, and like one of the major things, like I will have to actually say that I think if this game was just the combat, I would be like this game's terrible. Like not terrible, but just very mediocre because it's like it's very simple, right? You go into a room, there might be 2 or 3 paths, and it's like, okay, if you go through one path and there's a way forward, then you just go back and check the other 2 because you know they're dead ends. Like it's very predictable. The game play is like kind of simple. Like I think a lot of the difficulty comes from like not getting good weapons. But what I do like is that your levels in your like combat and everything is tied to how happy your cult is. Like when you do the sermons, that's how you gain combat levels. Is because your cult is happy and they give you prayer points or whatever the fuck. And that's how you upgrade your skills, and you make your cult more happy by upgrading your base to get more points, to get more shit, to make more people in your cult. So it's like it's I feel like the 2 gameplay styles are detached, but in order to progress in each, you need the progress in the other, right? So you need to get deeper into the dungeons in order to get better resources, but you need to have a stronger cult in order to get stronger, so you can get further into the combat. So It's
Yeah.
really a good cycle and loop, and like you get really addicted because the more your cult grows, the more resources you need in order to keep them happy. So, yeah, I think it's like really well orchestrated and everything.
And you're always
Um,
progressing every time you do something. You're never gonna go on a run and die and then just like get nothing out of it. You at least get something,
Yeah.
which I really liked. I like that aspect of it a lot because there were runs where like I did so much and it's like if I fucking die, it's gonna be awful. I would hate it. But then it's like, oh well, actually, it will take like half of what you have. It's like, okay, that's fine.
This is where we differ because I wish they took everything. Because early on in the game, you get an ability to bail out of the dungeon whenever you want. So it's
Yeah.
like you should have to like and this happened to me in Death's Door as well. Like once I realized that it's like, all right, like if I die, there's not that big of a penalty, then I'm not as afraid of death, and it makes it less exciting for me. I maybe there's like a hardcore mode or something.
There
later.
is there is like different difficulty settings in this game. So there is like easy, normal, hard. So I wonder
Yeah.
if like hard, it's like we'll take everything on that mode maybe.
Take all my shit. I deserve it because I could bail and just like I should be able to do that. Say, you know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, I could go deeper in, but I have so much shit. I'm just gonna bail.
Yeah.
I would prefer it that
Get
way.
up and
but-
take my resources.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just think it would make it a little bit more difficult, and I'm fine with things being more difficult. Maybe I'll crank the difficulty and see what happens. But like, what I don't like when with difficulty options, which is usually the case, is when they say, "All right, it's more difficult. We're just gonna make there be more damage and more enemies," and it's like that doesn't make it more difficult. That's just more tedious. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
not actually making me have to have more strategy. It's just making me more like, all right, I have to be more careful. I guess it's like I don't know. It's just I don't like cheap difficulty hikes.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe the answer to that wouldn't be that. It would be have moves for enemies that are only for like hard, like just
That's
special
possible,
moves
too.
and stuff like that. Because it's like, what else can they really tweak with difficulty settings? But it's like, well, then just give them more moves on harder difficulties that you'll have to like pay attention to. Like you don't need to make them like a tank or whatever. Just do something like add something to it.
Yeah, and something add to what Retro said actually about it's something I don't like about the modern era of video games is the prevalence of patching because I think this game got patched a lot already. Like
Okay, actually, I'm gonna say this because I played this on the PS4 and PS5. There were issues with this game. It needed patches. It got to the point where I couldn't even save the game. Like the save option was grayed out no matter where I was. I could be at the base, I could be in my house, I could be anywhere. Could not save. So it's like,
Wow.
yeah, that needs to be patched. Like
Yeah.
I just beat a boss and I couldn't save. I was like, oh my god, please don't tell me I have to do. And this one boss was a hard boss too. I hated this boss. I think it was the fish, I think. But whatever. It
probably auto saves though because so I actually had a moment where I played for like 45 minutes straight, didn't save, and I beat I got through like 3 levels of a dungeon or 2 levels of a dungeon, and I got soft locked somewhere. I don't remember what happened, but like I got caught on like a piece of grass or something and couldn't move, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to replay all of this shit."
Yeah, see.
And then I turned it off and I came back, and I wasn't set back as far as I thought. I think it auto saves every time you go back.
Yeah.
Which is all right.
Well, it's just to me like I didn't know when it last autosaved, so it's like I don't know
Yeah.
or if the autosave even worked because like, if the save option is gone, does that mean that the autosave is gone too? Like I don't know what happened. It did autosave, so I was happy with that. So I was like, okay, fine, that's great. But I did kind of want that save feature to be fixed. There was that. Then there were a lot of weird glitches that kept happening to me, like like enemies just would not load properly. It was just weird. Like there was a lot of weird stuff I can't remember right now, but it's like I knew there was some stuff that was like this can't be right. And then they patched it and it never happened again. So it's like okay, like and these are like small patches anyway. It's not like all right, 90 gigs. It's like no, so that to me is fine.
It's a small game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of, like on the subject of patches though, like and I can't verify if this is true or not. And I want to take a look. But I got the Cuphead DLC when it first came out. I got to the last boss, and then I just like put down the game for a while, and I just beat it actually yesterday or 2 days ago. And I swear to God, they changed the attack patterns. I want to see if this is true because like, have you guys beaten the Cuphead DLC yet?
No.
No, I
I'm
haven't
still
even
stuck
played
on
it
Gnome's
yet.
Way Out.
Well,
I beat him.
what's that?
I said I beat it.
Did you when did you beat it right away?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did
I didn't go
okay.
back and like 300% it.
Yeah, so
got,
but like
like-
the last boss, I swear they changed the attack pattern of when he sends the limes after you, because I like
It
remember
used to be pretty fast, but
I think they made it
like,
harder.
Made it harder?
Yeah,
I
like
don't know. I'd have to go back to it.
you should check it out. I want to see the change logs and see if they change it, because I swear to God it was different when I played it again. And that's why I don't like the patching stuff, because like the game might just be different. Like it could go from one game to a different game with minor patches. Like it makes sense in things like when it's like trying to rebalance like one-on-one games, but like
But what if
they
it?
change the patterns.
But what if
What?
like the initial pattern you're playing is not the pattern that they wanted? It's like, well, this pattern like it passed enough, but it's like we want to like improve it.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish that I
I know
could.
the limes changed. Like they could go like across, they could go on the table, they could go up and down.
Yeah, well, my point is like I wish I could play it at any point in time. Like be like, I want to go back to patch 1.2 or whatever and see what the game was like when it was like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but it's just it's a weird thing of like, and I'm gonna bring this up when we talk about N64 games, because there's a game that it's funny they shipped it and it's technically you can't 100% it because of a minor collision error, and they can't
Let-
fix it, and it's just like
There's another thing like N64 games. They came out with different versions of cartridges.
yeah,
That was their updates. Well, we'll just remake the cartridge.
right, yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting, and I wonder how this will affect this game. Like in this game, it probably has years of life with like updates to like the bases and things like that. There'll probably be DLC and stuff.
Yeah,
like the
because
Switch integration and stuff. Like,
it did say that on the roadmap portion that all the DLC will be free. So that
Mm.
is nice. I'm interested what that would entail. Though I don't think the patches that they've added changed the attack patterns or anything like that. I think these are just all stability patches anyway. So I don't think it's
Mm.
anything that affects like anything as it is.
got it. So Theo, anything else you want to say about this game in particular?
The music is really good. I really was not expecting to like the soundtrack as much as I did. The animation, the art style reminded me of Happy Tree Friends. Like everything about this game made me think of that. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly like that. I love the art design of the one who waits. That he has like a fucking badass like demonic look. So that I liked. There's a lot of stuff I liked about this game that just surprised me. It's like I said, I've said this all the time. If you could get me to gush about a game or a movie or anything that I go in thinking I'm not gonna like it, there's something like that they've done right with that. Because like if I like something that's like, oh, this thing's dumb, oh, I love it. It's like, yeah, that's something there is like working very well. It's I do think the combat. I was thinking that it's missing something. It's a little too basic, as we were saying earlier. Which I guess is like good that there's the base building, but it's like I kind of hate that you could just have a bad run just because you get bad weapons. Like I went to one new area, they gave me garbage, and it's like, all right, like this one weapon I fucking hated. You have to aim and then you have to like slam your hammer down, and it's like,
Yeah,
I hate that weapon. I died so many times just because I was winding up the move. It's like,
yeah. That's what I was saying. Is like most of the challenge comes from that. Like,
yeah.
not having the right weapons, but that's like then you have to level up your cult to get better weapons. It's like, yeah, it's kind of cheap in that way, but it's still fun to have. Like I said, like the loop and the way everything works with each other is pretty good. And I agree. Like the art style is awesome. Like the flat 2D characters, like, well, everything's flat in 2D, but it's like kind of 3D at the same time. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
It's like you're looking at like a
Everything-
shoebox.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is what they were going for, but I think they were. so I don't want to judge them too much on my assumptions, but like I don't really think the cutesiness is as funny as like it's supposed to be, where it's like I wish they'd committed more to, if they wanted that to be funny, I wish they'd committed more to everything being so cutesy and like, but it's also this like dark subject matter. But it's kind of just like, oh, it's cute lamb characters, but it's still like a dark world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it really
Like-
should have tried to pull in like Invader Zim kind of art style.
Well, exactly. Like if they could have either gone that way or been more like in tone, been more like Happy Tree Friends, where it's like, oh, everything's happy, but we're literally getting slaughtered and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they didn't commit to either way, and it's kind of just in the middle. But I don't dig the game too much for that at all.
I
just thought it was
also like it when you after you beat a room or like just a dungeon, you beat the boss, you can always go back to that same area and you can just do an infinite grind pretty much for
Right.
resources. And then like those prayer statues you see, if you destroy them on that second run, those become portals to the boss fight. So you can always refight
Right.
that final boss again if you really wanted to. So that I liked. There's always something that helps you out if you're just stuck on trying to grind stuff. The other thing I sunk so much time in was the dice game that they have.
Oh yeah, it's so fun. Retro, you'd love this shit. There's a dice game.
Why?
It's kind of like it's kind of similar to what's the one in Final Fantasy VIII? What's the Final Fantasy VIII game?
Triple
Triple
Triad.
Triad.
Triple Triad. It's kind of similar to that in a way. But like you just
That's
have to-
high praise, just so you know.
dude, it's awesome. You should. I would literally. It's worth
The
playing.
only good thing about Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yes.
Call to the
That's why I
Lamb is
said
worth
if we
playing.
go and Theo does like Final Fantasy VIII and we all review it, I feel like Retro and I are gonna agree on so many things.
Oh, same. We just have to wait for Theo to one day come in and be like, guys, I did it.
And the
Ver-
game
a
is
very
great.
special edition- a very special edition of Big Bun Game Club. If Theo, well, just play it, Theo, and see what you think.
All right.
But dude, the game Knucklebones in Cult of the Lamb, the game's worth playing just to play that. I'm not even kidding. It's really fun.
Yeah,
I'm about to buy
I did not
18
even
guys so I can
delete.
play it with people.
I
What's
didn't.
that?
I didn't even delete the game because I'm thinking of going back just to play the dice game.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's like the
It's a lot
dice.
of fun.
It's like the card game or whatever in Persona 5 Royal in the that Velvet Room area, whatever the fuck. And you play cards with the characters. That was a lot of fun. Did he even do that, Retro? Did he even do that part?
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
You go. It's not in the Velvet Room in Royal. It's the Thieves' Den.
Oh, that thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I
yeah, I
meant.
did that. It's just you said Velvet Room, like
Yeah.
Velvet Room. I don't remember that. I think I did it like once in the Thieves' Den because I only went in there like twice because I went in the first time to see what it was and I had got practically nowhere in the game, so I couldn't unlock much. And then I went back like 20 or 30 hours later and started unlocking a bunch of stuff and organizing stuff and seeing what was there. And then I think I tried it once and I just said, "Oh, that was okay. I'm out."
Underwhelmed.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, I'm going to be streaming that game October 21st, Persona 5 Royal PC, the best version of the game. I will try it out then. Well, I probably won't unlock it that day, but I will try it out during that.
Who's this?
that
Let's
stream.
see. Someone's calling.
Theo's taking phone calls
Hello?
while he's streaming.
Hello.
Wait. unmute.
No, I did not order a pizza.
We should just like scream like, "Ah!"
Hello.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
you can hear me.
Hello. Damn it! I was gonna ask you about Cult of the Lamb.
Who was that?
It was probably like someone's like that wanted me to download like spyware or some shit.
Dude, okay.
We're
I've been
calling
getting-
from your Amazon account.
Dude, I've been getting
About your
the
car's
weird
extended warranty.
I've been getting the weirdest emails and like texts and shit.
Yeah,
It's just
emails
like-
for me. I get that
it's
all
like-
the time now.
It's like, hey, how are you? It's your friend. And that's it.
Oh,
And I'm like-
mine are even weirder. Mine are like, they might as well just say this is a virus because the subject matter and the body are gibberish. It's like A X Z hyphen your warranty /X8. It's like, what the fuck is this? And I just deleted it immediately. But there were some like telemarketers that would call me, and that like it's something that you could tell that they probably know that like, oh, maybe someone in this house is a senior citizen or whatever, and they're trying to get you to download like spyware. So it's like, oh, you know that there's like a data breach on Windows? Go to your Windows computer and access the task manager or whatever. So I kept
Bullshit.
so I kept doing that. So
I want you to pull up the tree command.
Yeah, so I would just fuck with them the whole time. And as one person got mad at me, he was like, why are you wasting my time? It's like, you called me. It's like,
Theo, you should stream that. You should stream yourself fucking with these people.
I did a few times, but now they just hang up immediately. Like that one, they go off fast now, which is great. But one day I'm gonna rope one in. One person I literally said everything incorrect. Like, yeah, I'm on Windows. What number did they skip? Was it 9? They skipped 9. So like, yeah, okay, I have Windows 9. And I go to the Windows command. I don't see the Windows command. I have the Apple key. Yeah, hit the Apple key. Okay. I open the window. All right. Do you see the like they would go through like the Windows script, and I was like, well, no, I see the Finder. Yeah, click on the Finder. Okay, but I don't know where the task manager is. Like I would just see like all this. Like I would go between an Apple computer and a Windows computer, and then I would tell one person later on, yeah, my keyboard's on fire. I can't touch the key. And like, no, touch it. It's on the keyboard. Touch it. No, it's on fire. If I touch it, I'll burn myself. No, you can do it. Just touch the key. Hit the button. It's like, no, I can't. It's on fire. Okay, fine. And then they like hung up. And I was like, it took him that long to realize I was fucking with him.
Yeah. All right. So let's final thoughts on Cult of the Lamb.
It's a great game. I would highly recommend it. I think the price was like $25, and that is like the sweet spot for that kind of game. It's really a game that you can get really what you want out of it. It's like, it's not super punishing. Like it might be, some people might want to be more punishing, which is fine. But I think it's like the right mix where it's like, it's punishing enough to be passable, and it's rewarding enough for people who can who are just trying to get into that kind of game. Like, if you're not into sim games or like anything like that, this is a perfect game where it's not that steep into like, you need to learn all this stuff or else. Like, you can still progress the game even without being great at it, because you can still get enough points to upgrade your skill tree, but it'll just take you longer. So it depends on how invested you are, but everything will feed into everything you need. So it's a great game. I would, if I were to rate it on the big bun scale, I would give it 4 buns out of 5.
There you go. I agree. Great game. Definitely. If you like Stardew Valley, I guess Harvest Moon. I heard it's similar to Animal Crossing in a way too. It's definitely. I definitely highly recommend it. It's like the same. I recommend it to the people who play Sonic Adventure 2 for the Chow Garden, right? So you play the game, but it's just to get resources to help your little creatures that you're taking care of. I don't give number ratings, but highly recommend it. Definitely play that shit. It's really good. And worth $25, definitely. Especially if they're talking about free DLC and everything. Give it a try. And Retro, you should I think you would love this game, actually.
Oh yeah.
Why? Because Sonic Adventure 2, yeah. I see how it is.
And you like Harvest Moon, and you like Triple Triad. Dude, it's made for it.
Okay, so take that Harvest Moon idea, throw that into the trash or in the backyard or whatever. Leave it for another day. Buy Cult of the Lamb and just do that. It'd be way better. And you have Twitch integration. You can integrate with Twitch and everything.
Probably not a good idea.
All right, so Retro, what'd you play?
Well, while the two lads over here were playing their most useless and stupidly existing genre that should not exist, even more so than Metroidvania, because roguelite has like no qualifiers whatsoever to be a genre. It's awful. I mean, it's up there with there's only three things that are possibly worse than Metroidvania. One is anything Platinum Games makes. Two is Souls-like games, and three is roguelite, which is probably the worst of them all.
Can you at least
So,
can you at least tell me that you like God Hand? Tell me you like God Hand.
I've never played it, but
Okay.
So I
and
don't
that-
understand. He says like he doesn't like roguelites, but like Persona 4 had like
Dungeon crawler.
Yeah, but you're going
Dungeon
through
crawler.
a dungeon, you're going through like a tower of sorts, and then if you die,
Doesn't
you
matter.
lose some progress.
Dungeon crawler is the same thing as a roguelike, basically.
No.
Yeah,
no,
see-
doesn't
see,
count.
we're already
Doesn't
poking
count.
holes through
Doesn't
his
count.
ship.
Anyway, while the two of them were playing their questionable game of ill repute and of questionable quality, I decided, because roguelites are so insanely bad, that I don't want to play any of those. So I'll play something similar enough, but not really. But I'll play a masterpiece version of a game. So I went back and I borrowed an old computer from my grandparents running Windows XP so I could play Diablo 1 on legacy hardware. Diablo 1 is, of course, an amazing game. Much better than Diablo
What did you
2.
play it on? Like a 486?
No, it was like it was like a Pentium 3.
Okay.
So it was still relatively
Still
legacy. I mean,
reference.
it's not Windows 95 like the game was, but it was Windows XP, so it was good enough. And so if you've never played Diablo, it's an isometric click game, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's no proper way to describe it, really. I'm sure everybody knows Diablo as it is. It's basically a meme that I played it. Diablo 2, of course, being the best in the series, followed by Diablo 1 and then Diablo 3. We don't talk about Immortal, and hopefully 4 is going to be good. But Diablo 1 is actually much, much shorter than I remember. I remember being a lot longer, but there's only like 16, 18 floors in the entire thing, most of which are randomly generated. But you've got a great variety of enemies, skills, abilities, stats, armor. It's one of those games that you can... It was like the early games that you could grind again and again and again to increase your... Like when you hit your level and all, you can get better armor with better stats on it and all that as well. Obviously in later games, they customized it with how well you could do it. I feel there's not much I can talk about with Diablo because it's Diablo. Everybody knows Diablo.
Oh, I'm calling motherfucking shenanigans on this because, okay, just like many things, the term roguelike has been bastardized because there's a
Yes,
game.
that's the
Rogue.
problem.
But
Yeah, there's a
the
game
whole-
called Rogue.
You understand
Technically, then like it has to be written in like it has to be like what is the ASCII 2 art style game
Shut up.
or
Shut up.
see that then that would have to be a roguelike game.
The thing about roguelikes is all roguelike means now is that it's procedurally generated dungeon crawler.
Yeah, see, this
Diablo
is no, but this is why I have so many issues with the genre of and the term roguelike because it literally has no definition or no meaning. If you look it up, like there's so many games out there that are classified as roguelikes but have nothing in common whatsoever with any other game that's called a roguelike. It's ridiculous.
You know what the best thing about actual roguelikes is? Permadeath.
That they don't. Well, yeah, I would say permadeath, but other than that, they don't exist. Maybe practically.
Which all these roguelike games they say now they don't have permadeath. There's basically no like Cult of the Lamb. There's not much of a penalty for dying. Where fucking Rogue has the ultimate penalty for dying. You're dead forever. Like
yeah, it's game over. You start again.
So it's like you played a roguelike. By today's definition, played a roguelike.
No, because it predates the modern definition of roguelike.
Okay, I want people in the comments section when this video goes up on YouTube, explain who's in the right. Are you Team Charles or Team Retro? And we'll go over the results the next episode, and the winner will get bragging rights.
I am aggressively agreeing with Retro, violently agreeing with him that roguelike is the dumbest shit ever. But you played a modern roguelike.
No,
I don't want to hear this shit.
No, it's not even modern. Well, I mean, I guess the game itself isn't modern, but I understand what you're saying. But because it predates the modern bastardization of the genre and term and definition, it doesn't count.
Stop being a
I mean
crotchety old man. And
that's like saying, you know, well, I was going to use the Metroidvania comparison because that is the worst thing ever. But that's like saying, oh, you played Castlevania 1, that's a Metroidvania, even
No,
though
it's
it's not. No, it's not. That's correct. It's a straight linear game. But that's my point. And some people, depending on how you say it, oh, you played Castlevania 2, that's a Metroidvania.
It kind of is. That's the one.
No, the problem is that's not the one that everybody uses as the example. Yes, thank you, John. Symphony of the Night is the one that everyone uses, and everyone that's the time it started as Metroidvania. And
Well,
you know
yeah,
what's funny
yeah,
about
but we
that?
have modern.
It took 10. Go ahead.
But we have like modern understanding of Metroidvania and all that stuff. So then, wouldn't Castlevania 2 by like
Exactly.
hindsight or like
Exactly.
what's the word?
No, because
But
it
whatever.
predates it. It retroactively.
Yeah,
is,
but
I think the word.
yeah, it can retroactively affect it. I mean,
Which
it happens
if
in a lot of games.
If we're
I
gonna
think
talk about
Castlevania 2 is more of like a Zelda 2.
There you go. You wouldn't call Zelda 2
Zelda
a
2
Metroidvania.
is a Metroidvania.
It's basically a side-scrolling platform game. Get out of here. But anyway, one other thing I want to bitch about with Metroidvania. It took 10 games, 10 entries in the series for Castlevania to use that style. It's not even predominantly the style still to this day in the overall sheer number of games that do and don't use it. And it's like the 6th or 7th mainline entry in the series to use it.
Which
you can't call that a Metroidvania.
Handheld games like the
Yeah, but
GBA games and
the DS and all. But there's still less non-Metroidvania games than there is Metroidvania games in the Metroid series, in the Castlevania series.
Once again, I completely agree because Metroid deserves all of the credit for the genre.
Yes, I call them
entirely.
Metroid apes. Metroid apes, that's it.
Yes, exactly. But as long as we're talking about annoyance with fucking genre names, I'm pissed that any game that doesn't have turn-based combat is called an RPG. Fuck you. Your action RPG is not an RPG. Just because you can fucking level up your weapons or whatever the fuck. It is not an RPG. Fuck that shit. I need turn-based.
RPG elements.
RPG elements my ass. Fuck that. Like, role-playing games are all based on Dungeons and Dragons. That was all dice rolls and turn-based shit. There's no fucking dice rolling when you're punching someone in the face aggressively. Bullshit.
If you're playing a character,
question for you.
But
then everything's a role-playing game.
No, here's a brilliant one because you brought up the dice rolls and stuff like that. Morrowind had those hidden dice rolls behind everything. I think we talked about this before. Starting with Oblivion and then obviously carried into Skyrim. When you hit something, no matter what it is. Your skill will base it on how much damage you do, but when you hit something, you hit something. You can't not hit something. But in Morrowind, for example, the best Elder Scrolls game, when you try to hit something, it rolls the dice based on the enemy stats, your skills, and your weapon and all as well, behind the scenes as it's calculated. If you fail to roll, even though you hit something, you do 0 damage. You miss.
I'll take it. I'll take that.
The
other games don't do this.
It does that stuff in there. But think of it, that's not turn-based.
Well, and then to go full circle with our discussion, we mentioned Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through 3. That's also an action game, but it's also an RPG because you get to like literally be in front of an enemy and like flail your sword, but you can still miss, even though you're right next to him. So you can still miss an attack, miss whatever. So there's still a random stuff as well.
That one's like it's using all your. It's still using your stats and. You're still hitting like
there's RPG elements. You're leveling up. You're,
think of it like Fallout 90, or here's a good one for other people. XCOM. Here, 95% chance to hit, whiff.
I'm completely okay with that, and I think Fallout 1 and 2 work that way too. I don't know about I haven't played the new ones, but I know Fallout. I'm pretty sure Fallout 2 worked the same way, right? It's like you.
Well, Fallout 1 and 2 are turn-based.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I thought you just kind of like clicked in and like You could choose
No,
what action you're
you
doing?
can move around and run around and stuff like that in like towns and all. But when you get into battle, basically everything pauses, and like then you'll have
Yeah.
a certain amount of action points to use, and you can use them to move or use items or reload or shoot or whatever it is. And then it'll go to another enemy who's next up on the agility scale. They will use all their points to move around and do whatever it is, and then it cycles between everyone, and then it rotates in a vicious circle until someone falls down and dies.
Maybe I'm thinking about Diablo.
Diablo's not turn-based at all. That's just like constantly moving, clicking, and
But are there hidden dice rolls in it too?
I wouldn't say so. No.
Well, then fuck it. I don't know what I'm talking about. The moral of the story is shut the fuck up and enjoy Cult of the Lamb, bitch.
No. It looks like the main. What's the game? It looks like the main roguelike, which is Binding of Isaac, which means I will throw that shit out the window before I will play it.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
Retro. Just avoid something that you would love just because you're a purist or whatever the fuck. You and your blonde. This comes back to your blonde hair and blue eyes.
That's it. Everything is my strict definition, and everything else is eradicated.
Jesus Christ.
all right. Let's move on to N64 games.
Yeah,
Or
John,
did,
you gotta lead the way on this.
All right, so I got a list together of like 25 games that are
Oh,
great and
hold up before you go any further, John. Theo, you should probably explain for the purposes of the stream and who didn't see it last time what we're doing with the N64 stuff.
Oh, actually, I think Charles should because it's his idea.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Basically, the gist of it is we said there's only like 15 good N64 games. So we just started bringing to the table what games we think are good from N64, like objectively good. Not like, oh, like I played it when I was a kid, so I like it. And it's funny because I kind of did this too. I'll let John run the show here, but it's funny when you look at things that aren't exclusives, the list gets even smaller. Like if you're only going by exclusive N64 games, and I was generous too. I like didn't count things that were also on PC, and I'm like, oof. N64 was even rougher than I remember it. So John, take it away.
so yeah, I counted a lot of different games, not just exclusives. So I've got some conventional picks, some kind of hidden gems. You're not gonna really get a gist of this until like probably the end, because there's gonna be towards the end. I'll get towards the hidden gems.
In the interest of time, John, I think you should take the controversy because there's like obvious ones that everyone like. You can't tell me Mario 64 is
Yeah,
not good.
I'm just when I say like good games, I'll just kind of gloss over them. I'll just be like Majora's Mask.
Yeah,
good
like
game.
no one's gonna say Majora Mask sucks. Uh-oh.
Yes, I will. Majora's Mask is legitimately one of the worst Zelda games there is.
But okay, where's Zelda?
And I can't even call it object. I don't even have Ocarina of Time on mine. I love Ocarina of Time, but I cannot objectively say that's a good recommendation of a game to play to someone.
You don't think Ocarina of Time is a good game?
No, I said I love it.
Ocarina
I
of
love it.
Time is worse than Majora's Mask.
Most people
Majora's
actually
Mask
say
is
that.
I think Majora's Mask is the better game in terms of story, in terms of like to do shit. Like it's very like on point. It's actually quite long for how compressed it is, and it's in development with how Eiji Onoma and the rest of the Nintendo team really developed it within like a year or two.
I do think it's an interesting game. I like the style of it, and this kind of like all of that stuff, and like the story, the atmosphere. I just think that time limit thing just kills it. There's like a few dungeons that just suck. Just I hate
Something
the
with that. You can do the Song of Slow Time, Song of Double Time.
yeah,
There's
but
different
still.
ways to get around it. You've
Well,
got plenty of save statues to get around. So there's a lot of things you can do to go fast, be more proficient. You don't necessarily have to get all the match. You want, the Great Fairy Sword or whatever. Like, it's not a game that you have to like worry about time management. I don't think.
Well, yeah,
If
but
you-
but what I'm saying is just I think the dungeons just a few of them just I just think they suck. I just don't think
Well,
it's
Storm
that good.
says-
Like the Great Bay Temple is not great dungeon, but I will defend Stone Tower Temple. I will defend Snowhead Peak. Now they all bring something different, and that's why I love Majora's Mask.
Storm says Majora's Mask is the best Zelda game ever.
Oh, weird
I
way
don't
to
know
weird
the
way to spell
best,
Wind Waker.
but it's very good. So I'm gonna gloss over some more. Ark, excellent game. Super
Which
Mario,
one?
You broke up a little bit on that one, John.
Perfect Dark.
Oh
Perfect
yeah,
Dark
I
game.
have that on my list.
So Perfect Dark, great game. Paper Mario, great
Oh,
game. Has aged tremendously. I kind of cheated a little bit on this. It's a 3 series, Rock 1 through 3.
Oh, it's her. Okay. Yeah. I don't know
Rock.
if you saw the message I put in chat before
Yeah,
we
I saw
started,
that.
John. Yeah, I literally only found out today that there was a Turok 3. I thought there was only 1 and 2 on the
And
N64.
they remade it, so you can play it on like Switch and stuff. So
Fuck the
They
Switch.
It's fun. It
I'll
is.
say-
or whatever the fuck they did.
I haven't
I
like.
just
They're
go
all
buy the
very
original
different.
if I want to
They're
play
all
it.
very different games. They all play pretty differently. Like Turok 2 is better than Turok. I think Turok 3 is the best one. People say it's 2. I think 3 does. But that's kind of just a personal
You know why?
preference.
You know why Retro doesn't know about Turok 3 is because it was the only one that was only on N64. Oh well, also Rage Wars.
No,
with that-
Turok 1 and 2 were only on N64 back in the day originally.
it was on PC. Turok 1 and 2
Oh,
were on PC.
I didn't even know that. I
Yeah,
know
3
them.
was a very late port.
Oh, they ported 3 to PC too?
No, he probably means like it came out very
Yeah,
late.
N64.
Oh yeah, it wasn't for PC. It was only on N64.
I think it was late.
I wasn't even like a heavy PC gamer until the early 2000s. I still played games on PC, but it was like 50% PC, 50. It was probably actually like 60% console, 40% PC until the like very early 2000s.
So I'm gonna blow through some more here. Rogue Squadron, prequel to the great GameCube game Rogue Assault or whatever. Great game back when level Factor 5, level whatever, making great Star Wars games. Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber, great tactical RPG. I think the only game on the Nintendo 64. But I don't know
Wait,
about that.
The only
He said
what
the only
game?
tactical role-playing game on
I think
RPG.
it's the only Atlas game on the
only Atlas.
64. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's one too many Atlas games on a Nintendo platform. Hi-oh!
Right. Pokemon Puzzle League, excellent game. Attack, you're gonna love Pokemon Puzzle League. And I guess we'll get into some others. I got Wave Race 64. I've got Mario
Wave
Party.
Race 64 is pretty universally loved. I don't know if I'd count that as like a hidden gem.
That's why I said I'm not like I'm just kind of blowing through these.
Oh, you're still going through the quick
Sin
ones.
and
Okay.
Punishment. Sin and Punishment. Treasure game, third-person shooter on rails.
Sadly, didn't get it in the US.
Yeah, I was about
but
to ask.
But it did get
that.
on Wii Shop, and it was on the.
It was still
Wii
in
Shop.
Japanese.
Well, it's English voice acted.
Oh yeah, but all the text and all is still in Japanese.
I think the subtitles are also in English.
I have it, but I haven't played it since it was current.
I haven't played it since
current
I
on the
played it
Wii.
on Wii. Yeah. Mario Party 3. I had to pick one Mario Party. I wasn't gonna waste time. 3's the best. It brings in Waluigi. There's lots of great mini games.
The other two are great too.
Yeah, the other.
I just put Mario Party 1 because it's the only one I remember.
Okay. 64. Enough said there.
Wait, what did you just say?
What 64?
Star Fox.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Star Fox. No,
I thought
never
you said Donkey
heard
Kong. I was
of.
about to be like retro. I mean, I was about to say fire this man.
I've never heard of Star Fox 64. It's called Lilac Wars. Get it right.
Lilac Wars 64. Diddy Kong Racing. Great game. Even better than Mario Kart 64, I would say.
Ooh, hot
Wrong.
take.
Okay. Pokemon Stadium 2.
Sucks.
Oh,
Ass.
I like that you said 2.
Oh, I never played. I didn't know there was a 2.
Yeah, there
Was
was.
Yeah.
2. So
What-
2 is basically like gold, silver, like on the N64. So you get all the battling from the first game of Pokemon Stadium. Like you get the original 8 gym leaders. You also get the Johto 8 leaders. You get the 4 like rounds. You fight the rival character, the red-haired guy. He's got like Ho-Oh, Lugia, and Celebi. It's really jam. And there's like a Team Rocket battle mode. It's excellent. There's mini games, excellent fun.
And you can also connect it to there's like some compatibility with the
Game Boy
Boy
pack.
game.
Yeah,
The Game
Yeah.
Boy pack.
puts it in the back. You can basically play your Game Boys. You can transfer them like across, or use them in battles, I think. And then you can also play it on the TV, which was cool for back in the day. And you can play it in like Duo mode for double speed and Dodrio mode for triple speed.
Yeah, you can't do that on
Well, the-
PC. So
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
You can pick like whatever emulation speed you
You
want.
absolutely
Okay.
can.
back in the day,
Theo has a Mac. Yes, back in the day, Theo has a Mac. He doesn't understand how
you
emulation
absolutely
works.
can. Also,
Shit.
but the first game was ass, right? It was useless. It like you could do little battles.
I
but
think
there was not much.
the first game was to. I mean, it's all just battles. There was mini games in the first one, and those were really fun. You cannot tell me that Lickitung Sushi not fun. Anybody who's played it, just go play some
like a swap.
Lickitung Sushi.
John, you must be you're a puzzle game fan then.
No,
No, oh, never mind.
No,
I did play
honestly,
Pokemon Puzzle League, but I'm not a puzzle fan.
No.
No, honestly, the best part about Pokemon Stadium 1 was just that you could play your Game Boy game on the TV.
Yeah,
That
you
was
could play
mind-blowing at
red,
the time.
blue, yellow.
Yeah, but you've never heard of Super Game Boy? You could do the same shit.
Yeah, you could, but the problem was
doesn't do the same
back then we
thing,
had moved on to the Nintendo 64. For most people, I also didn't have a Super Game Boy. I have 2 now,
Oh,
but I
and
didn't have
there's
10.
a thing in Pokemon Stadium 2. You could speed it up. It gave
Yeah.
you an extra fast like play option. It was barely controllable, but it was super fun to do if you were like playing Pokemon on 64. So now I'm gonna get into the weird sort of niche games. So I'm gonna go into my first pick, which is WCW Nwo Revenge.
I have
Great
that.
game.
I have all 3 of those on my list, John.
Yeah,
all
no
3 of them,
mercy.
'cause I know
Put
the
them
other
all
3
on
you're
there.
gonna say.
I don't
Okay, so
think. I think that's. I don't even think that's niche. I think that's
True has, I
undisputed.
bet, WWF No Mercy
Yeah, and WrestleMania 2000.
in Wrestle. Okay, so he's
Yeah.
got all that. So
All
I
that.
don't
It's
have
funny.
to explain those.
Remember 2 weeks ago when Charles, you suggested this, and I asked like what the criteria was, because some people might not like the genre. I was specifically thinking of those 3 games because if you don't like sports games or combat games or anything, you might not like them because they're wrestling games. So that's why I was just thinking like an objectively well-made game would still count. Hence why
If you don't like
it was just those
WWF
3.
No Mercy, shove it. You don't know what you're talking about.
So that's why I picked those. I thought maybe they'd be on Retro's list. I wasn't sure about anybody else's. I thought that this couple of games might be on Retro's list. I've got Mystical Ninja starring Goemon.
Yes. yes.
I was never a fan of Goemon games.
Okay. So
Dude, that
they
game is a shit.
despite this, there's 2 Goemon games on the Nintendo 64.
And they're both great.
They both play very differently. First game, 3D style Zelda-like puzzle adventure game with combat. And the second one, Goemon's Great Adventure, is a 2D platformer.
That's the one I know.
So they're both great games, very kind of out there games, especially if you enjoy Japanese humor.
I'm a
let's
big
see
fan
what
of
else
both
I
of those
got.
games.
If I figured maybe Retro would have that. Okay. I've got on here, I will defend this to the death, Glover.
Glover's a good game. Glover's a
It's
good game.
it's a decent game. Yeah.
It's got weird ass controls and shit, but it's a good game.
All right, so we Glover. So I'm like I said, I thought I was gonna pick some more like weird games that you guys wouldn't have heard of. I've got on here Mischief Makers, another treasure game. Has anybody heard of Mischief Makers?
The
I tried
name
to play
sounds
it.
familiar.
Okay.
I love Treasure. I love Dynamite Heady, and I love Gunstar Heroes, two of my favorite games ever made. I tried to play Mischief Makers, and I just didn't understand what the fuck was going on.
It's a little bit of it's a puzzle platformer with a robotic maid. So it's very hard to kind of it doesn't explain itself well, but once you get a handle of it, it's very intuitive. So you'll grab, throw, and shake obstacles in your way, and sometimes they can change functions, like can shake items, they become a homing missile, or a gun with multi-directional shots. You can drop red, blue, green gems, stuff like that. You can run, boost in 8 directions. You can slide, hover, roll. There's a lot of inventiveness with the puzzles, and they're very short levels. It's not a very long game, but it is very fun. Just a pretty complex to get a hold of, and not as intuitive as you might think. But once you get a grasp of it, it's a very fun game. I've got on here. Let's see. I've got Blast Cores.
Yeah, great game
Oh
too.
no, that game is shite.
No.
Yeah,
Blow
like
shit up.
you just basically run around and do nothing.
How far did
you-
you get into it?
I'm pretty sure I finished like there's what 4 areas or 4 levels or something like that. They give you
Missile
they give you a
carrier retro.
they give you a percentage thing, right? Of how much you've completed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got it to like I don't think it was 100, but I got it to like 98% or something like that. I can't remember
There's
what it was.
over
Very
60
high.
levels. It's a lot of game.
No, I don't know how Blast Core, right? You just run around and you just basically like run through all the buildings and stuff and just literally
you're
blow
a
them up.
runaway nuclear carrier, basically.
Yeah, you're like
causing destruction everywhere.
Pacific Rim shit, right?
It's excellent.
It's kind of like what's that recent game? Not recent, like one of the first like Xbox 360 games where you like just blow shit up. I forgot what it was. Fuck. Forget I said anything.
All right. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, Jet Force Gemini.
Great game. But
Yeah, that's
actually,
pretty good.
it's good until you get to the end and you have to collect all the fucking little guys. Then it gets really tedious, but I think that one is one
It's fun to play.
file in. What?
It's fun to play. That's the main
Yeah, I
thing.
was like, you file that under it's fun, but don't 100% it.
Okay, and I've got Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yes, that's one of my favorite games.
I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
Dude,
So,
okay, I think it had a
this
weird
is going to be a
release in
very
Europe.
weird game to explain. So you're that controls animals, and each animal has a different ability to solve puzzles and defeat enemies. So large animals such as bear can destroy ice blocks. Some animals are unable to survive in certain unfamiliar environments, which means you have to switch to a new animal. Animals solve different puzzles, and you'll basically swap between different animals to collect power cells and defeat and get energy. There's great level design. It's very open-ended. I absolutely love the gameplay. It is very interesting, and I would say just if you are looking for something different, I'd play it.
So the funny thing about this game is it's made by the team that would become Rockstar North, who made a very famous game, I think. And it's
No,
like,
you don't say.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, Eleanor, I forgot.
They didn't even make that. That's the funny thing.
so the game it's actually funny because it's pretty similar to Grand Theft Auto way because the point of the game is that you're a robot that you need to find all your pieces and you go through these different like biodomes and you can jump you basically murder robot animals and then you can take them over and move and just like drive around and you have to complete missions to finish through the level. by infecting all these different robots. This is one of my favorite games ever. And there's like 70 different levels that you get through. And this is the game I was talking about before. You can't 100% it because there's a glitch where the collision data isn't in a collectible that you need to 100% the game. So you can get to it and you can touch it, but you can't beat the game.
Just walk right through it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a funny story about this. So in Europe, I think it had a weird release where like it didn't come out for N64 at first, and they released it for PlayStation, and it made a really shitty port for PlayStation. It's like all scaled down and it sucks. Has a different name. It's called Evo Space Adventures in Europe instead of Space Station Silicon Valley, which is really strange. But you should definitely fucking play that if you haven't played it. Space Station Silicon Valley. Theo won't be able to because you have to emulate it.
Shit.
Because there's no,
I've only got 2 more.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the last 2 are, and I'll defend it to the death. I've got Donald Duck Quack Attack, aka Donald Duck Going Quackers.
That shit sucks. Fuck.
I love Donald Duck Quack Attack. Listen, all right. So it's got 2D platforming. It's got like crash level style like runaway sections, and the bosses are fucking a fucking Disney game. It is impossible sometimes to get these bosses, but it is excellent. I love this game. I absolutely love Quack Attack / Going Quackers.
I'm gonna disagree with that, but I'll give it another. I'll play it again to see what I think. But
Yeah,
I
like
remember
I
that
said,
being very
I say
mediocre.
Going Quackers because that's what it was. GameCube, PS2, blah blah blah. Because they re-released it, and finally, I've got on here Castlevania 64 / Castlevania the Second Quest.
Also, get that shit the fuck out of here. That stinks too.
Hey, look, some more Castlevania games that aren't Metroidvanias.
Just listen, I know it's aged poorly and it is not the best Castlevania. I know that, but there is those who didn't get Castlevania on the PlayStation 1, Symphony of the Night. I had this. And you know what? Sometimes it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'll have sympathy for you not being able to get to play the wonderful masterpiece that is Symphony of the Night, and you had to deal with.
I did eventually play Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, but you have to pretend to like Castlevania 64 when you were a kid, and that's really sad.
Yeah,
Didn't have to pretend. I did.
I liked it. I liked it.
Even though it was bull. But yeah, that's basically my list. I know I'm forgetting some like other games like, you know, I don't know, Excite Bike 64 stuff like that, but I figured there was some obvious games on there that I just wasn't gonna put on that, you know, everybody kind of agrees on.
John, can I just say I'm so glad from like the deepest, darkest, absolute bottom regions of my heart that you did not mention Holy Magic Century, aka Quest 64.
That game sucks balls. That might be the worst.
That's why I'm happy he never mentioned it. It was the worst game I played.
A troll list at first. I was gonna rock in and be like, "Listen, this is why Superman 64 is so fucking great. I threw hoops. The collision detection is so fucking bad. I love this game. It's bullshit."
I think Quest 64 might be worse than Superman 64.
No.
Just by pure...
No, I don't think so. At least
can beat Quest 64.
Yeah, it's a bad game, but it's a functional game.
But that's the problem. It's like Superman 64, you play it for 3 seconds, and you're like, this is the worst shit I've ever played, and you can put it down. Quest 64, it's like, oh, this might have potential. And then you're 2 hours in, you're like, wow, this is ass.
Yeah, but two hours, you know, what's the difference? Well, I rented that game. Like, what? I did that. I think I said it before. That was, or I definitely said on one of my streams, but it's called Holy Magic Century over here. And that game, when I rented it, I was downtown. I rented that game.
Century on the Mega Drive.
Oh, I just know it on the N64 one, and I was with my mother at the time, and I was younger, so I had to go with her. She was visiting a friend, so I was sitting there all night looking at this box. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait. And then, I get home and I play it, and I'm like, this is the new worst game I've ever played.
Oh.
And it stayed like that for years until I played Unlimited Saga on the PS2. Wait, I don't remember which came first. It was either Unlimited Saga on the PS2 or Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex on the PS2. Whichever one of those came first, that was the new worst game I'd ever played.
It is
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of.
The
wow.
other one.
I'm looking at. Wait a second. I'm looking at the box art for this, and it actually does look cool. They really fucked you, because at least
Yeah.
in the U.S. we got shitty box art too. So it's like,
Yeah, you got that like
Oh.
one guy with the sword.
Yeah, you got the
It looks like a bootleg
kid.
Mega
that's
Man.
bad, and it's just a shitty 3D CG pre-render. But you got this beautiful like animation. It was made by Konami, or they just published it.
I don't remember who made it.
Jesus, they really fucked you over there.
It's
Too
fun.
bad.
It is funny that you mentioned Paper Mario, John, because I played that game on the N64. I rented it from Blockbuster, put it in. I first was really confused, like why is there turn-based combat in a Mario game like that? That I cannot like get over that. I couldn't wrap my mind around that. And then the power went off, and I didn't save, so I lost all my progress. And after that, I was like, yeah, fuck this game. I ain't playing it. And I never went back to it. And it's like, everyone like is telling me that it's a great game. It's like I can't say it's a bad game or a good game because I literally just could not take playing that game again after that blackout. It put me in such a bad mood. Huh?
That makes me wonder, Theo, was that your first like savable RPG ever?
It actually was. It was just in the timeline.
It
that
all-
would have
It
gotten
all
me
makes
in.
sense.
But the
It
power
all makes
outage was
sense.
like, no, you're done. And the thing that was just pissed me off, so I had the N64 downstairs. I went upstairs to go to the bathroom or whatever for like a minute. The power went off and it was like just in a blink of an eye. And I think I was like right where the save block was. It was either that or I hit the save block and then the power went off as it was saving. So either way, the save file was gone anyway. It's like, okay, cool. I don't need to play this game again. Returned it, never tried again because it was so long to play the beginning. It took forever to get to the gameplay, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a story before you get into Paper Mario, but it's well worth it.
Yeah,
It's one of the two good ones.
I do kind of want to go back and play it since it's on the Switch now.
Door. Although I
Yeah,
do
that
defend
Thousand Year Door.
Mario.
Wait, what'd you say, John?
Said I do defend Super Paper Mario.
That was the game I
think all the
played,
Mario
and then
games are
I got like stuck, didn't figure out
I
how to
think
get
that
on.
was the last
dropped
good
it.
one because it's got the platforming elements of a Mario game mixed with some RPG elements. It's more action platformer.
That's the one on the Wii, right? That you
Yes.
can like turn sideways and platform a
Yeah.
different way. Yeah. Okay, that was good too, but I didn't really
It
count
was
that
the
one
last
because
good one, I think.
yeah, I don't like people say is it like Mario and Luigi series continued it on, but I've never really
Yeah,
counted
the
that.
Mario and Luigi series are more of the RPG one, whereas the paper series went off into cards and fucking whatever else the origami system battle was.
Yeah, and now Mario and Luigi's gone
We
as
don't
well.
count Switch games.
Well, SMT5 is the Switch game, so you have to count Switch games
It'll
now.
be on PC in 2 months.
Yeah,
don't
but
worry.
it started on Switch, so
Whatever.
By the way,
It's already
Mag-
better on PC.
It was Imagineer who developed Quest 64. I guess they're like big in the Metabots series.
Well, they fucked up big time.
Feels bad, man.
All right, boys. I think. What do you
Wait,
think?
There was a Game Boy
There's like-
Color game,
There's like one or two other games that
Sunsoft,
should have been on
Brian's Journey.
the list.
Why don't you play that, True?
Wait, Brian's Journey. That sounds familiar. I have to Google that.
That's Brian's Journey from Sunsoft, Game Boy Color.
No, it's not the same one I'm thinking of. There was a couple of obvious ones that John left off his list, I think. He did mention Perfect Dark, so GoldenEye was obviously on there. Mario
Wait
Kart.
a second.
blah, blah, blah.
I actually think GoldenEye's not a good game.
I
know
really-
left off GoldenEye because I don't think it's aged as good as.
But are you saying that
Yeah,
because
it's
of the
not-
controller or the game itself? Like, ignore
I
the
think
controller.
I say that because I played
The game isn't that good.
remakes.
No,
It's
the game definitely holds up well. A great example of that is if you download an Xbox 360 emulator or get a hacked Xbox 360, play the updated Xbox Live Arcade port. The game is
Okay.
perfect. The game still plays
So I was
flawlessly.
gonna
Xbox
say
Live Arcade port
Perfect
is
Dark
hacked.
got a
Are you
Xbox
talking about-
Live port.
It's
Are you talking
Say
about
again?
GoldenEye?
yeah, of GoldenEye. It was never released, but it was completed and it leaked on the internet.
GoldenEye sucks.
No, I can't
Okay.
agree with that.
Okay, the continuation of GoldenEye, play Time Splitters and then tell me GoldenEye's a good game.
No, Time Splitter's
Splitters-
fantastic. I streamed all 3 of them like 6 months ago.
I like
They're
Time Splitters too.
fantastic.
And then play GoldenEye and then you're like, this game sucks.
No, I can't
That's how I
get
feel.
behind that. I can't get behind that.
After I played Time Splitters, especially Time Splitters 2, I was like, wow. Or no, Time Splitters 3D. I was like, wow, GoldenEye's terrible. Like,
Like I
it's
said,
just,
I mostly
not
left
nearly
off
as good.
things for time, basically.
But
I guess
here's
anything that
And
was
besides,
obvious.
wait, I gotta go. So, you guys can continue, but I gotta bail. Peace out.
All right, later.
oh already okay. Enjoy.
right,
Doom
then there were
64
three.
is one that a lot of people overlook because
I
it still
I was
plays like
debating
Doom.
on putting Duke Nukem 64 on there too.
I don't agree with Duke Nukem going on the list. I had Duke Nukem 64 growing up. I didn't have Doom 64. But the reason why I disagree with putting Duke Nukem on there is because that actually has verticality with the aiming, which on the N64 is a problem because of the C buttons. But Doom doesn't. Doom plays like Doom, original Doom. You don't aim up or down. So that's why I included that one. It's the same reason I didn't put Quake 64 on there, because that's a 3D shooter instead of, just Doom, which is, it plays like Doom.
And I was gonna put some other games, but I didn't think they were good enough. Like I had Cruisin' USA in mind, which I thought was a decent arcade port of a game on the Nintendo 64.
I actually should have brought up one on my list just before Charles left, actually, but because this came up when he was talking about it. While I completely disagree with the existence of this game on this platform and the quality of the port, it's no denying the game is fundamentally well designed in its original form. Resident Evil 2. It may be a shit port, it may be a shit version that I don't agree with and all, but it's just a greatly designed game. You also left off Pod Racer. But I mean, I guess that's a given, really.
But like I said, I was like debating on like how many good games do I put on versus how many like niche games could I find. And like most people, it seems like everybody's kind of heard of everything.
All right.
Yeah.
On there.
I think this is a good place to end Game Club. Unless anyone else has any final thoughts for this episode.
That was it? Or
Is anybody in the
roguelike
chat
suck?
like putting games in?
All right, we'll do a rapid fire chat participation segment.
Lee Bond fan here. Oh, also, just while the chat's doing all their stuff there, you didn't pick a game before Charles left for next time.
We'll talk about it next episode. Because I didn't even think about what game to play next either. So So I don't know. We don't know yet. I think it's gonna be a game that I'm gonna play by myself.
Soul Hackers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because I am doing like a independent mini game club video in between the main show now.
You do have Soul Hackers on the 3DS, the first one.
I saw your I didn't get I saw you posted the mini Soul Hackers 2 one. I didn't get a chance to watch it because you were ahead of me at the time and didn't want spoilers.
I don't think I talked a lot about spoilers in that one because I think I knew the game just came out. I didn't want to get into too much, but I don't remember, to be honest. So whatever. It's still a solid game. I am just still stuck on this one boss. This is the first boss I've seen who had a Dean elemental attack, like DYNE.
Can we ban Storm for suggesting Final Fantasy VIII is a good game?
No. Because I need to play it first, and then once I understand it, I'll make the determination. So I'll go as far as say he's on a list. He's on the bun list right now.
Ooh, he's on the list.
What I like about Final Fantasy VIII, they're few and far between.
But we can't poison Theo's potential thoughts
The-
of
I will
of Final
say,
Fantasy
the
VIII.
beginning of it, I kind of like the game. So I don't know, like I didn't make it that far to get into the meat. The only thing that drives me up the wall about that game is just the tutorials. Just reading all that text, it's like this is like I like going to med school. Like, come on.
I'm surprised, Theo. Did you do any of the seed test?
Seed test.
Okay, then
I
you didn't get that
think
far.
he only got to the very start of it. Theo,
Yeah.
I think you said you got to the bit after you get off the boat, right?
Yeah,
'cause
like
then you
right
gotta
after the
go- you go-
tutorial.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah. Okay. So you didn't get that far.
No.
That
So I
that's
can't-
basically the good part of the start of the game, for what a lot of people call it.
Yeah, because then you get.
It's just a bit more action orientated
Bullshit.
and a bit more interested than the going to the Ifrit's cavern and whatnot.
I mean, I am excited to play it, just in the sense of when there's always a game that like is very polarizing. I just love playing it just to see where I'm gonna land on it. Like that's the only thing I was like looking forward to playing The Last of Us 2, is just seeing like how bad is it, how much am I gonna hate it, and it's like I played it, it's like it's a boring game. I don't, who cares? Like whatever. Then I played like SMT3. It's like, oh, this game is like, I could see why it's semi polarizing to like newcomers, but it's like whatever. It's a great game. But I like seeing games that are like very polarizing, because at least it's something to talk about. It leaves something of an impression, for good or for worse.
True.
All right. Well, so far we got one guy saying N64 is not his forte, so that's fine. We'll get on to the next episode. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the resub, Storm and Ludwig World Order, and Perez for the host, Aka raid. Let's see who we can raid today. Let's see.
The big
Sadly,
bears.
Charles ain't even here, so like this is his favorite part. He's not even here to witness.
Tisk tisk tisk.
That's what he gets for leaving early. Pissed me the fuck off. Alright. Let's do a Soul Hacker stream. Nondescript. Hopefully one. If I find someone like streaming the first game, that'd be fucking something. No, everyone's playing 2.
Got a 3DS capture card.
Oh yeah, I
Or a
forgot.
Sega Saturn.
Or
Or
an
a Sega
emulator.
Saturn.
Or an emulator. Like the real OGs.
Okay,
We know
fuck it.
what's up.
We'll do Persona 4 in honor of Charles. Oh, so,
Petty intensifies.
And they're playing vanilla Persona 4, supposedly.
I'm a
That's even better. They're playing the worst
throw some-
version.
Teddy's in chat for that.
Alright, start raid. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye!
Yeah.